Tammy's Boy podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. John Carden is not a licensed therapist. He is just a friend.
Hey, everybody, welcome in. Another episode of Tammy's Boy. We're glad you're here. You know me at this point. I'm John Carden. I had a crazy childhood, so I like talking to people about theirs. But before we get started, a few words from my very talented producer, Mr. Cole Garrett.
Tammy's boys and girls, how the hell are we doing? We got another one coming at you right now. No matter where you're watching it or listening to it, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Full video is going to be on YouTube and Spotify, and the audio is on all your other podcast listening platforms. If you guys have any crazy stories about a Tammy of your own, mom, dad, uncle, aunt, a neighbor, whoever it is, write them into us. You can email us at tammysboypodcast@gmail.com, and we will read your stories on the air, sometimes with a guest. Guys, that's enough out of me. John, who do we got on the show today?
He's so good at it, right?
That's good.
He's so good.
This is like a real show, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a
man.
fucking show.
Yeah, we're doing it, dude. We've got a really good friend of mine, a guy who I respect highly in comedy, for sure. You've been on HBO, done a lot of shit over the years, done so many shows with you. It's Dave J, everybody.
Hey. How are you?
Hey,
Good, man.
welcome to the show.
Thanks, dude. This is awesome.
Yeah,
It's like I have this chair. Do I look too comfortable, you think?
You look just fine.
I want to make sure I don't look like this guy
No,
showed up
dude,
and
I'm as
fell
comfy
asleep.
as I can be, dude. I don't care.
That's the goal. That's the
All
goal
right,
I
here.
mean, when it was back at my place, man, we had the big L couch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Dylan Carlino laid all the way
yeah.
down during the
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
You know, it's like people get as comfy. Like, I think Emily, when she sat down, she grabbed a blanket
Yeah.
and covered up. And like,
Yeah.
it's literally, this is a podcast is just about being comfy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we try to do.
I really like this chair.
You're going to take it with him?
We'll have you back.
Yeah. I need one. Yeah. Honestly, I haven't had a good chair like this, I think, in a long time.
Well, dude, that's a dad chair.
Big time.
That is Sunday, I am not leaving that chair all day chair.
The greatest.
Yeah.
Absolutely the greatest. Everything's done. Cut the grass.
Yep.
Do your kids have any respect for sports? Like, do they leave you alone at all?
No, they don't leave me alone. I'm trying to get him to watch it with me.
Yeah.
Now, my one son plays baseball, and so he'll watch baseball with me. I'm not a big baseball guy, but if he'll watch it, I'll watch it with him. And then I got my older son. We were watching the Spurs game the other night, the first, game one. And so a little bit, but they're not really locked in. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of like leave dad alone. He's watching this thing. Not yet.
But you know, I kind of remember being the same way as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my dad watching, it was a Denver Broncos game.
Yeah.
John Elway was quarterback, and it was the old uniforms. It was
Yeah.
the powder oranges, you know, whatever they were. And I remember like just not leaving him alone.
Yeah.
You know, like trying to talk to him constantly. And he's like, yo, I'm trying to watch this.
Yeah.
And now that I'm an adult, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I want him to. We try to make a big effort, especially during football season, to get like on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to my wife to like, we got an island in the kitchen, and she'll just put like shit there, like cheese or dip or something, and she like it's a football day. Only one person's really gonna watch football,
Right.
but like there's football happening in this room.
Yeah.
Kind of like building the tradition, like the Sunday
Yes.
tradition kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I really like, because it's for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
But
I
it
mean?
does also build kind of a family day thing
Yeah.
too. You know, it's something that eventually maybe they'll latch onto and you all kind of do it together, actually watching.
Yeah, I hope so. I think they're getting there. With certain sports.
Yeah.
Every guy that's a sports guy wants the daughter from Remember the Titans as a daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I never watched it.
Hayden Panettiere, you don't remember that?
I know the name. I know her.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was the daughter in Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Coach, what was his name?
Oh, what was his name? He's the one that, hang on, I'll find it. The Alabama coach, the one that everyone,
No. The original coach that Herman Boone replaces.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and he comes on.
Yeah.
What's his name? The actor that plays it,
I was
Bill
literally,
something.
no, hang on.
Anyway, she's just like, "What, are you blind? You can't fucking see?" It, like, I would marry that woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
woman that's at an Eagles game or a Cowboys game, and she's like, "What? You ran a slant? Why you running a slant on 3rd and 18?"
Yeah, you
know?
don't want to marry an Eagles fan, but yeah. maybe it comes in.
I don't want to bust through an orphanage.
Will
No.
Patton. Will Patton is
Will
his name.
Patton,
And he played
yeah.
Bill Yost.
Coach Yost.
Coach Yost.
And his daughter in that is like, that's the daughter that I think every sports fan wants.
Yeah.
We want that daughter that would paint her face with you and sit on the
Yeah.
couch. And they are so few and far between.
Yeah.
It's like basically you got to get rid of your wife in order to have that girl.
You know what it is like the kids don't, I think they, at a certain age, they start to like want, they want to like what you like to please you. But then there's also like zero respect for the things that like, hey, like not just that I like this thing, but like, hey, at this moment in time, I'm not doing anything for you. Like, this is not for you. This is for me.
Yeah.
If you're not going to watch it, that's fine. And they hate that.
Yeah.
They don't want, like, what are you doing? Why aren't you watching me run across the hallway for the 100th time?
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Well, my son's 5. He goes, oh, look how fast I can run. I go, dude, he has, 4 other brothers and sisters. I go, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Look how fast I can run. I go, pretty fast, dude.
I've seen this episode.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, I don't know how to tell you this, man. This is a rerun.
Start holding the remote up to him.
Yeah, I've seen that. Drake May is new. I've not seen this. I've seen this. The things are looking good. Okay,
Yeah, and then-
we got
and then
AJ Brown.
And then they
I
pull
get it.
They pull
Oh, you're a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
they pull the curtain over you. You're like, oh, a really good white quarterback, Dad. That's new.
Yeah,
They change
dude,
the channel on
need
you.
Another white quarterback, another white QB, and down there, and they're up there in New England.
Yeah. I mean, New England wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
No.
Cam did not last long in New England, dude.
No.
He had a good run in Carolina.
That's right. You're Panthers fan.
Big Panthers fan. Yeah.
They had a pretty good
Pretty fun season last year. Yeah.
Better than the one before.
And I'm also a Drake May fan because,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, North Carolina boy.
Oh yeah, and you guys got Bill down there now.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah.
something.
Fucking banging a
He's doing
26-year-old.
something. Yeah, could you?
God,
I mean,
dude, that whole story is crazy.
I told my wife, I go, if we ever get a divorce, I would never let a woman talk to me the way you talk to me. I go, you're the last woman who will ever treat
to
me
me.
this way. But what if if we're ever not together, God forbid, whoever I'm with, it's gonna be as soon as she's like, well, you don't. I go, shut the fuck up. You're not just sending. That's my wife. You're not just sending. Only she can yell at me this way. And then I look at Bill Belichick, just old. I mean, Super Bowl champion, arguably the greatest coach of all time, and he's got some 26-year-old chick just telling him what to do.
Around.
Are you kidding me?
You put the Louis Vuitton on the floor, Bill?
Crazy.
This is a man whose
That's
hand
crazy.
is weighted down by 5 Super Bowl rings that's carrying your Louis Vuitton baggage. And you only care that the Louis Vuitton hit the floor.
There's no hope.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no hope.
It's depressing.
Because what's he gonna do? Be alone? That's crazy.
I know, man. You would think Mrs. Belichick would also be this shriveled up old lady.
Yeah.
But also, would he be Bill Belichick if she existed?
Yeah.
It's like I don't imagine him being too into relationships when he's popping out 6 or 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the AFC Championship
You gotta be a
every
lunatic.
year. Yeah, it's sociopath.
You got to be a lunatic.
I mean, someone who can perform at that high of a standard in anything, in any industry.
Yeah.
It would be really tough to also maintain a healthy, full-rounded home life.
Oh,
People who can
100%.
do that.
If
Like,
you watch
immen-
The Last
like-
Dance,
The
Yeah.
greatest.
Michael Jordan, one of the greatest documentaries ever to come out.
Yeah.
And you leave that thinking that Michael Jordan is anything but a fucking sociopath,
Yeah.
borderline
It's
psychopath.
a nut job.
You
Yeah.
did not watch it correctly.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But that's how you do that.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's funny is I got served a short or a reel or whatever today of Julian Edelman talking about Tom Brady and him telling like, hey, we're gonna go get you ring number 4. You're gonna beat Elway, Montana. And he goes, I'm not going for Montana. I'm going for Jordan. And he's like, well, you're at 3. You know how hard it is to win 1 Super Bowl? But even then, he knew he's like, I'm gonna win 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A fucking psychopath.
It's insane.
And I fully accept whatever he's got. I don't got that. Whatever that thing is, where he's like, I'll fucking do anything. I'll sacrifice everybody and everything.
Dude, he gave up a family for a chance to win 8.
Crazy,
You know what I mean?
crazy.
It's like he let his wife go bang a Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor for a chance to win 8 Super Bowls. And then he's on the sidelines during a Pittsburgh game. There's the famous sound clip where he's like, I didn't leave my wife and fucking kids to lose to Kenny fucking Pickett.
And you know what? He still wants to play.
he would play right now if you let him.
He still wants to play.
You see him in the flag football thing?
Yeah, I saw some clips.
Yeah, he was just throwing darts, dude.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the problem is what Rocky Balboa said it best. Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
A 43-year-old man. Watch Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
The zip is not there.
Yeah.
The zip on the deep ball is just not there. Stafford, it still has it somehow.
Yeah.
But it's, even that is dwindling. Breeze, he lost it. Manning lost it. Brady lost it. The ability to throw that ball 70 yards, 65 yards is tough, dude.
I think what you get, so you think about like why Pittsburgh would just stand around just letting him kind of just take his time to decide whether he's going to come give them another season instead of going like, hey, we're just starting from here. We're gonna start with a young quarterback. We're gonna build. Maybe we'll get one next year, whatever. Is because he's in the league. He's definitely got the best brain for a quarterback,
for sure.
And that's a lot of being a quarterback.
Yeah.
And so you get that, which is good. So he's not gonna throw it from end zone to end zone.
Yeah.
But, he's going to be able to think on his feet better than anybody else, read the defense better than any other quarterback, shit like that. Because you look at it and you go, like, from a purely athletic standpoint, you would go, what are they doing? Why are these franchises letting him just fucking, yeah, we'll see if I'll come back. It's like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, this is.
It's the same question. Why do you let an 85-year-old man run a company?
Yeah. It's
because he's been doing it.
Right.
For 40 years, and there's nobody that knows more about it than he does. Even in his old age, he's still going to know more than some 30-year-old coming into it.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no replacement for experience.
Yeah.
Truly.
There's no replacement. And
on the job experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, he's played in the snow. He's played in the coldest of cold. He's played in the hottest of hot.
Yeah.
He's played in front of hostile crowds. He's played in front of friendly ones.
Yeah.
The biggest moments and the smallest moments.
Yeah.
And you can't replicate that.
Yeah.
It's like, think about us, man, with what we do. It's like the only profession you can practice live.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't performed in front of fucking 3,000 people, I wouldn't know what that feels like.
Right.
I wouldn't know what the reverbs feel like, where you have to slow down your pace and your cadence.
Right.
And to allow the clearing of the room and like how it adds extra time and all those little nuances that we learn, like how to, like when you're hosting, how to recover a room.
Yeah.
And that's why we shit on open micers so much. Mm-hmm. It's because they're rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah. And you got to suck.
Yeah, you got to suck for a while.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of the sucking.
Yeah, the thing is, you also got to know, a lot of people, I think back to people I knew first starting, and like a lot of them are still bad. And I think it comes down to like, yeah, you have to have the experience, but you also have to know how to learn from the experience.
Well, you want to know why they're still bad? It's because they never admitted that they were bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the honest to God truth. Like I've seen so many people.
Adjust. You got to go, this stinks. I got to try something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're not adjusting and growing and trying to get better, doing the same thing over and Neil O'Donnell throwing the same exact interception two 2 years in a row in the Super Bowl. If you're not trying not to be Neil O'Donnell, then sorry, Neil. I hope you never see this.
Neil.
My dad was such a fan. But no, if you're not trying not to be that and make the same mistake over and over again, and you're acknowledging the fact that it's a mistake, you're going to grow.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you're going to stay the same for over and over. Yeah. Other people enable that too. Other people, like, if I get off stage and I know I had a bad set, and you tell me it was a good set, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
For at least 5 to 10 minutes. And I can't explain why I have so much hatred for you at that moment.
Yeah.
But you just need to shut the fuck up and go away.
You know what? I've been telling myself, like, I very rarely, because of that, will give it up to somebody when they get off stage. Be like, hey, great set. Unless it was like truly a crush. Because it's like, it feels transactional. Because everyone does, like, hey, great set. It's like, there's no way it was great. Like, it was fine, or it was bad, or it was kind of good. But if it was great, I would have known that.
You know what I mean? Intentional. If I like it, I say what I liked about it.
Be specific.
Yes.
So I really like this joke.
I like that joke.
I like that. I like being really specific and go, hey, I really like when you say that.
Yep.
Or like that, I think is way more useful than like, hey, crushed it. Great job, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, because I've gotten off stage and was like, yo, that was fucking amazing. And I'm like, bro, I kept my head above water. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they laughed, but that was not how I want them to laugh.
Right.
That's not how they're supposed to laugh at this.
Yeah.
And I mean, But, doing it, you learn to adjust. Like, I had a crowd the other night that was groaning at almost everything.
Mm.
It was like, oh, at every joke. And I'm like, listen, if you do that through this set, you're going to be doing that through the entire fucking set because it's all that.
Yeah.
It's all the shit that's going to make you go, oh. But it's funny because it happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've been to therapy.
Yeah. Guys, I've been to therapy.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can talk about this. It's okay. And then I'm going to lighten them up and we'll it'll move them past it. But you have to know.
You got to be able to read like this is going bad because of this.
Yes.
And adjust.
You got to also drastically be able to read people's sensibilities on a moment's notice.
Right.
And know that your experience is not their experience.
You know what what that kind of thinking is really helped me a lot in like how to deal with hecklers, yes, but like just the crowd in general that is just not going in your direction.
Yeah.
Like is to have, I don't know who said this. I think it might have been Colin Quinn. You have to love the audience. And so if they're giving you negative feedback, they're right.
Yes.
And so like especially with hecklers or people who just, and I mean heckling in the sense of like people mostly think they're helping.
Yeah.
Very rarely is a heckle like fuck you, get off the stage. Those people like treating that, I don't like being mean to those people because it makes me feel bad and I think it makes everybody else feel bad. I treat them with like almost the way I would treat my kids and just go like, what was that, sir? Whatever it is, and just try to just walk away from it.
So,
or give them I know and then keep going. But like, I hate the shut the fuck up. I'm up here. I
do
hate
too.
that.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And here's the way I look at it. We have the same thought, but different, different metaphors. My metaphor is I'm at a house party.
Mm-hmm.
It's my house party.
Yeah.
When I'm on stage, it's my house party.
Yeah.
I'm not there for you. I'm there with you.
Right.
This is a shared experience.
Yeah.
Right. If somebody fucks up and say they dropped the sausages, you don't go, hey, you fucking asshole. You dropped the fucking sausages. I'm trying to have a fucking house party here.
Yeah.
And you're fucking it up by dropping the sausages.
Yeah.
You go,
That's
Carl,
way worse.
You go, Carl, drop the fucking sausages, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to fix that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to ruin the fucking party.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. You don't want to ruin the party. Everyone's just trying to have fun.
Everybody's just trying to have fun.
You yell at that guy. I think the consensus in comedy is that like comedians are mean and the people in the audience are mean. They want to see you eviscerate some people, and some people do.
Yeah.
But that's not what I do.
No.
Yeah.
And so like when people, if that something like that happens, it's like, yeah, like if I get into a fight with this guy, everyone else is going to be like, I went to a party. It was a fucking fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I want everyone to have a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just go, and that's, like you said, that's earlier, that's like a good and a bad thing because you can get to the point of where you're so understanding that you let people walk all over you or excuse bad behavior.
Well, what I do is I make sure that, hey, I'll say, hey, I'm a sweetheart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to come at you like that. I'm real gentle when I approach it. You know what I mean? I'm never trying to create hostility or have some, crazy confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, hey, I'm a sweetheart. If I'm saying you're fucking up,
yeah,
you're fucking up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just know that.
That's the thing too. I think it's hard for comics to, and you let me know if you don't want this to be the kind of podcast where we just talk about comedy.
Dude, it's fine. We can get started on the real thing in a minute.
Yeah.
But
I just got to be out of here by 2:45.
There's a lot of comics who I think feel hostility towards the crowd, which is a form of like a lack of confidence, right? Like to feel hostile towards the crowd, like there's something to overcome or whatever. And they kind of look forward to that confrontation, and that's whatever. That's not, I don't know. I don't understand the audience that is like, they want to see blood, because when I was on the road really heavy, I was opening for Steve Trevino, which is like really, it's date night. And these people don't go to comedy shows. They go to see Steve.
Yeah.
They're not, a lot of times this is the first comedy show these people have ever been to. And so everyone just wants to have a good time. It's like you said, it's a party thing. We just want to have a good time. We're not here to watch people get beat up. We're here to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
go to a roast battle.
Yeah. Right. Which is why I stopped fucking doing roast battles. Number one, because I take it too personal.
I hate them.
I stopped saying yes to Adam when he would ask me because I'm like, I'm not having fun. I can only tell a joke once ever. And I like to think I have a thick skin, but if someone tells a joke and then 100 people laugh at it, I go, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to go home with
You're
that.
hurting my feelings now.
Yeah.
It bothers me when they do it and they don't know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Right.
what really bothers me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you don't know me well enough to make that fucking joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like-
hard not to have that because I love roasts,
Yeah, I do too.
but it's hard not to, when you're the subject of it, it's really hard not to have that
But
reaction.
I like
Yeah.
roasts.
Yeah.
I don't like roast battles.
Yeah.
Right.
I here's the thing. I don't like taking something I love and weaponizing it.
Yeah.
I just don't, man. You know what I mean? Like, I like roast. I think
love
it's
busting balls. I think
busted. It's
That's what
great.
that's what I'm
It's
talking
the purest
This
form
is
of
the greatest.
comedy.
The best ball
It's the
busting
greatest.
comes from like a place of love on the inside,
Right.
you know, which is where the best roasting, I think, comes from. We keep talking about the Friars roast. And like back then, whenever Don Rickles was, you know, lighting somebody up, you knew that behind like the curtain,
Mhm.
they were chopping it up, getting a drink at the bar. They were having a good time. They were
Yeah.
friends, you know?
Well, the famous thing he did with Julia Roberts. He goes,
yeah, you don't have any lines, honey.
yeah, you don't have any lines, honey. Yeah, he goes, yeah, you live down the street. We're neighbors. You never visit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
But you know what? He's likable.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's hard to, going back to hecklers, it's hard to calm down the crowd if no one else likes you. Unfortunately, it is true that writing jokes is not enough. Anybody could learn to write a joke, but if you could learn how to be yourself and in a way that other people will, which for some people is a setback, but if you learn how to be yourself on stage, people will learn to like you.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I like this guy based on what he said, how comfortable he is, whatever, all the signals that you send, what he's wearing, whatever. I remember one time I don't have it right now. I was on stage and I was talking about my wife and I got off and some lady goes, "Are you really married?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, you're not wearing your wedding ring." My wedding ring is like, got too big on me. And I go, "Oh yeah, I better start wearing it." Just as like a little signal to go like, it's a little something that like gives them an additional reason to believe and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the kind of stuff that I talk about.
I call it, it goes down to philosophy, and it's Plato's ethos and logos. I don't know if you're familiar, but I believe ethos is credibility, ethics, in a sense. You can look that up for me. Plato's ethos and logos. But it goes down to the credibility of the speaker, right? If the speaker isn't credible, the words aren't believable.
Right.
So subject matter experts, in
Yeah.
a sense, right?
Yeah.
What defines you as a subject matter expert is your ability to speak on the topic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I even took that into my comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I do is, I always tell a thesis joke. And that joke is an introductory, a joke in a sense to, I can talk about this.
Right.
So I made you laugh about this,
Yeah.
right? On this joke. And that builds my credibility to be able to talk about that subject.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it opens it up. And because of that, I have jokes that if I didn't do that,
Yeah.
it's not going to hit.
Right.
I have a joke about a dude, shoving grapes in his wife's asshole.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for telling everybody.
Yeah.
100% true story. And I had to figure out a way to tell that.
Yeah.
I had to figure out a way to build with the audience
Yeah.
that I have enough credibility about divorce, about marriage, about life and circumstances.
Right. Which is not just telling a joke.
No,
You don't just get the credibility by telling a joke about
No.
that thing. Not everything you say has to be funny, but it has to be in service of like, you're going to get the laugh or the punch or whatever here, but you could build credibility with that. One of the things that I learned the most on the road is how to be on stage without trying to tell a joke. I'm not I just got to give you information. Because we do a 2-man show and we would do some really big rooms.
Yeah.
And so you just got to, I'm working, doing other shit. And it's like, it's time to get on stage. So there's no ritual. It's just get on stage right now. And you get on stage and you have to do housekeeping.
Yep.
Then you got to do 20 or 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you got to do housekeeping again, bring on the headliner. And learning, one of the things I learned is like the ability to just be comfortable on stage without getting a laugh.
Yeah.
And knowing that if they're not laughing because you're not saying something funny, intentionally not funny, that it doesn't mean that they're not engaged or that they're not having a good time. They're like, okay, the show's starting. Yeah, just make sure that you guys don't take any pictures. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Hey, your city's sucks. It's awesome. Whatever.
Mhm.
Anyways, my wife's a bitch. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever my jokes are. So yeah, like that you get credibility. Just be the way you are.
Yeah.
just the way you are. And yeah, I think that what you're talking about, I identify with, but I haven't put it that succinctly. It's like, yeah, you can't say this until you say this.
Yeah.
Because this is like, oh, he sucks on
Yeah.
its own. But it's like, no, here's a bunch of shit. I told you that I love my wife. I told you that I talk about my wife and my kids. I told you that I love my daughter. I put them in the context of like, this thing happened. And like with my daughter, like she's this way and God, she's getting older and I just love her. I just want her to love me back. And she doesn't. And now I can tell you how she's a bitch.
Yeah.
Because I give you the credibility of like, I love her. I'm not just here talking shit about these people.
Yeah.
Which
I do that too, but I use text messages with my daughter.
Yeah.
As a way to like, I'll read some of the texts.
Yeah.
Just to build context as you understand what our relationship is.
Right.
Right. Because every relationship between father and daughter is different.
Right.
And there's different boundaries and there's different things. I'm just letting you know what boundaries we have.
Yeah.
And why I can talk about this and it's not creepy or weird.
Yeah.
Because this is our relationship.
Yeah.
And it's very, normal for us to be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should probably start the pod.
Probably should. I mean, we started. We're here. We're here. We're doing it. But yeah, let's hop into some questions.
Yeah. So we always, try to start it off real simply. It's just who raised you?
Yeah. I was raised by my mother alone.
Okay.
My mom, my sister.
What happened to dad?
What happened to dad? Dad? My dad. So I was born in New York.
Okay.
I was born in Brooklyn, and where my mom and my dad met. And then we moved when I was a baby. I was probably 1 to Massachusetts.
Okay.
But my dad did not. So my dad stayed in New York. And it was just us up there. With my mom's family, like we moved up there because a bunch of our family had moved to this random small town in Southbridge, called Southbridge in Massachusetts. And yeah, so dad just wasn't around. Not great phone caller, not a great visitor.
Yeah.
So I didn't see him a lot. And then, so it was just the 3 of us. And yeah, my mom worked 2 jobs. My sister's older than me. So she was out of the house 6 years before I was. And so for a while, it was just me and my mom for a while.
Yeah.
It was kind of like being roommates.
Yeah.
For the end, especially when I was like in late middle school, high school.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then my dad died when I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
But I didn't know it. This is how little he called me.
Oh.
He died like May 7th or 9th or something like that. I graduated high school, and then his wife called in like June, almost July. He'd be like, hey, he's dead.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't talk to him in years.
Did your mom know?
She got the call and she told me.
Oh, okay.
But we've been ignoring their phone calls. We get the New York number on the caller ID, and we were just ignoring it because we don't want to fucking talk to him. And then eventually we picked it up, and it was his wife, and was like, "Hey, he died." And so I didn't.
Guess we don't got to. I guess we can answer those calls now.
She's getting the call. She's like, finally, I've been trying to get a hold of you guys for 3 months. Hey, by the way, he's dead.
It is funny to like finally tell someone, and it's like you're already over it. It was like, oh yeah, he died. So anyways, but that was it. It was just that was. It's funny because that was the information exchange. Like I haven't talked to her since. It was almost 20 years ago.
Did you have any siblings on that side from that relationship? Okay.
So you got some half siblings?
Yeah, I don't know anyone on my dad's side, including my dad. Yeah, he had some other kids. I never met him. And my wife's like, "Oh, maybe you want to meet him one day." I go, "And do what?" They love him. I presumably.
Yeah,
what am I going to show up and go, "Hey, you guys know that asshole that died?"
Yeah.
You have 2 completely different perspectives on the same person.
Yeah, and maybe they could give you a different perspective. I don't know, but what I got's not good.
Yeah, it's always going to be yours.
I ran into that in my life.
Yeah,
because my mom was abandoned by her dad, and she went and found him when she was like 26.
Yeah,
and he had basically a complete, full other family.
Yeah.
And when my mom opened the door, the girl behind the door, her name was the exact same name.
Hilarious.
He had literally just replaced my mom.
That's fucking crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like, she goes, "Hi, I'm Tammy Jane Lassiter. I believe my dad might live here." And the girl's like, "Oh shit, I'm Tammy Jane Lassiter too."
Middle name
what
too.
What a small world.
Exact same
middle name too. That's crazy.
Same.
Wild.
Yep. Exact same name.
Yeah. My dad is still, I don't know. He was from Pakistan. So my mom's Puerto Rican. So my grandmother moved to New York in
That's,
like
yeah,
the 50s.
that's a New York couple right there.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think he was like a super, or no, I think my grandmother was the super for the building, and he was like doing work on the building or
Oh,
something.
he was like
that.
the maintenance guy.
He was like he came to do a job, or I don't know, something like that. He did a job. And
Went a little early, but
yeah, he
Motherfucker had a job. He had a job, right? He had a job.
They hooked up, and then I think because he was here, off the boat from Pakistan, and I think he already had a family in Pakistan that he was like sending money to. This is what, if I do the math on some of the people that I do know about, I'm pretty sure he was like here, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna work for a little while, and then you guys can come, and then got my mom pregnant, and then so here I am. And then I think he's probably, I would guess, I don't know a fucking thing about him. I would guess he was probably relieved when we moved to New England, because he was like, well, that takes care of that. And then his family, because for years before he died, when I was in high school, his new wife, or maybe his old wife, I don't know, would call, and she barely speaks English. And she's like, I'm your mother. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? I go, I don't, like, that's why we started ignoring their phone calls.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he would call and be like, I'm your mother, or I'm your dad. You know what I mean? I mean, she's already doing more than him. So I think that's what happened. And then, we moved away, and then he would come every once in a while. He would come. I remember one time he came to bring us to New York. It's like a 3-hour drive. We never went to New York. It's crazy because I'll go to Dallas and back in a day.
Yeah,
but when I was a kid, we lived 3 hours from like the greatest city in the world and just never fucking went.
Yeah.
And we knew people there.
Yeah.
So he came to get us. My mom wouldn't drive on the highway. So he drove 3 hours to get us in his work van, a white work van with no windows. And he came to get me, my mom, and my sister. And when he shows up, he opens the sliding door on the van, and there's a leather love seat in the back of the van.
oh,
And my mom goes, what the fuck is that? And he goes, chairs.
yeah.
And so my mom's like, well, we need a ride. And so my sister and I sat in a leather love seat in the back of a white van.
You got some disinfectant, or what do you?
I mean, just down the fucking busiest interstate corridor in America.
Dude, that's hilarious. So you don't know how many kids your dad has for sure?
He got at least one daughter.
Okay.
That's all I really know.
Because dude, it'd be funny. You do 23andMe one day, and it's like you won at Keno. Just ting, 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 ting,
Yeah.
ting, ting, ting.
Dude, it could be. It could be. I don't know anybody over there. I don't know. That's why people, like, I look very Middle Eastern, and people always assume like I know shit.
Mhm.
I don't know anything. You're like, oh, where can I get the best fucking euro? Like, I don't know.
Buddy,
Yeah.
I've seen that firsthand at Creek, where somebody used to come up to you and started trying to talk to you about, like, I think
Yeah.
it was like the Quran or something. I can't remember
Yeah.
what it was.
Oh, wow.
And you were just like, yeah, dude, that's not me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just look like this.
Yeah.
I remember, I think me and like Dean or somebody was standing around and saw it. It
Yeah.
was so funny, dude.
They're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me go ask my dad. And you just
Oh,
walk
sorry,
away.
he's dead.
Yeah.
I remember my dad, he would call sometimes, and we had this is the late 90s, early 2000s. So like phone on the wall, like with a cord, just standing there. Your dad's on the phone. I'd go over there and stand next to the kitchen on the phone. And he would like, I could barely fucking understand this guy. Like, such a thick accent.
Yeah.
And he lives in New York. So he could just get away with just being around his people. Like
Yeah.
my grandmother moved to New York from Puerto Rico when she was a teenager in like 1950 or something like
Yeah.
that. And my mom was born 12 years later, and my grandmother never learned English because she was just living
Yeah.
in a Puerto Rican neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to my grandmother before she died years ago, because she moved to Massachusetts eventually too. And she told me she'd only ever been to Manhattan like twice in her life, even though she lived in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, why? She goes, I don't know. There just wasn't anything for me to do over there.
It's like a whole nother planet.
I go, are you kidding me? But the people, this is why I'm all over the place. Native New Yorkers are like the worst traveled people on
They
the
stay in
planet.
New York. A
They
lot of
stay
them
in New York.
stay in New
and
York.
they can't fucking
yeah.
drive. My
Yeah.
grandmother
Yeah.
never drove a day in her life. They cannot fucking drive. That's why you go to Florida. Everyone sucks at driving.
Yeah.
I had this thought a while ago, since we're on this tangent, where, I feel like small town America, that's where you always think of where it's like, we'll just say small-minded, meaning just like they stick to their communities, they just know their spot, and that's it. That's what you always associate with. But I had this epiphany that's like, places like New York, Brooklyn, place where there's these boroughs like inside of these massive cities, you see a lot of that same thing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they might have a little bit more culture, meaning like there's other ethnicities around and stuff like that, and pop culture maybe, but they still, like you said, stick. A lot of people stick to those.
They want a pod.
Yeah,
Well,
so many people just haven't left the city of New York, exactly like you're saying.
Well, it goes back into like a self-segregation, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of the neighborhoods stayed self-segregated. Like you have people like even in the late '90s, early 2000s. I remember going to New York, and there's still Irish neighborhoods. There's still Italian neighborhoods. There's still some Slavic, like Russian neighborhoods, and a lot of them maintain the accents. Like you go to some of the Irish neighborhoods, and he's just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "What? I'm in New York."
Yeah.
But they've talked like that around each other for 100 years, and that's who they communicate with.
Yeah, it's
Or they talk to people from the
cool.
old country.
It's cool in a way, but it's also like it gives you a lot of perspective on like New York versus New Yorkers. Like New York is this big international cosmopolitan place, but New Yorkers are just like anybody else, where they're just like, this is where I'm from.
Yeah.
Like if you lived in fucking bumfuck Arkansas, you might go, I'm never leaving this fucking place.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with my grandmother living in. She only moved to. She'd still. I mean, she's buried there. They drove her back there, but she would have lived there her whole life if all of her kids hadn't moved to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But my dad would call, and I could barely understand him, and he would like tell me, he's like, yeah, I'm going to send you the Quran. And I was a kid, I was like, sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because my dad wants to give me something.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's a Muslim. I guess I'll try. Whatever. Fucking never sent it.
Wow.
Couldn't even send me the
Dang.
word of God. He couldn't even send me the word of God.
Oh my God.
Damn, dude.
That's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of waiting on the stoop. Dad didn't show up to bring me to baseball practice, but my dad didn't send me the Quran. Is a new level of I don't give a fuck about you, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the topic, right, we'll move into our next question. It's a new one that we've been starting to do. So let's say you guys are, let's say you both are same age, say like 10, 12, somewhere around there, right? John is adopted into your family.
Okay.
It's John's first day.
Yeah.
And your job is to give him like the brief of what he is to expect in this family.
Yes.
What's that brief?
10 or 12 years old. We're in there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna be alone a lot. It's just gonna be us. A lot of Legos.
Okay.
A lot of Comedy Central Presents.
Oh, dude.
Friday night.
Comic View?
Not Comic I
Man.
was big Friday night Comedy Central Presents over and over. A lot of Dane Cook, a lot of Bruce.
Premium
over and
Blend.
over again. Premium Blend. So we're gonna be watching that a lot.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
A lot of Legos. There is a lot. So my mom's at work. It's the summer. I'm gonna assume it's the summertime, and so we're in like it's pretty rural Massachusetts, but it's not like cows and shit. We're pretty close.
Can we walk to shit?
You can walk to the Big Y supermarket.
Okay.
Which is maybe it's a half-mile walk.
Okay.
And we can cut through the woods, take the train tracks, Old Providence, Worcester Railroad that's defunct. They actually recently turned it into an actual walking path.
Oh, wow.
We used to go down there in the middle of the night just fucking terrified and trip and like do all, like it was really, really bad. Now it's an actual walking path. We go to the Big Y. There's a Blockbuster there.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, dude, Blockbuster.
Nice.
There's a Blockbuster in walking distance.
There's nothing better for a latchkey kid in the 90s, dude.
Oh,
the greatest.
Than a fucking
The
Blockbuster.
greatest. And where we lived in the Village. Shout out the Village, Brookside Terrace. It's basically a housing development.
Okay.
And it's mostly Section 8 housing.
Okay.
I've
been there before.
Yeah. And so it's I grew up there my whole childhood, but it's this little contained world where it's like there's one way in, one way out. It's a big circle. It's like you live on this. We lived all over the inside of the complex. We lived on this side. There's a river. There's a park. There's a basketball court. It's a whole contained little world. We're in the woods a lot in there. We're going to be in the woods. We're going to play basketball until some of the new kids who recently moved in from Boston to be reunited with their former drug addict parents. Those kids, when they come out to play basketball, we'll just go back inside. Because they're really mean to us.
Fuck those kids, man.
Yes. And then there's a pool. We go to the pool.
That's cool.
Those kids, not good swimmers.
That's where we get revenge.
Yeah, they're not in the pool a lot, so you can be in the pool.
I'm gonna be treading water in the 8 feet, talking shit, dude.
Dude, yeah, that was the greatest.
Hey, your dad's inbred. Come swim out here and do something about it.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool, because it was this thing, little enclosed world. It was like summers were cool because it was like you could be out late at night and there's nowhere to really go, or there's no like stores, or it's just residential unless you walk out to where the Big Y is. And so, we would stay up late at night in the summer and like play manhunt, and like you'd have the whole village. It's
Ghost
like,
in the Graveyard, that kind of shit.
We never played that. What's that?
That's a fun one. Ghost in the
I
Graveyard.
don't know that one.
I'll explain it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd be out late. And it was cool, man. It was like, because it was this like, it felt safe, even though like the poorest people you've ever seen in your life. Yeah. You look back, I've been back there. I went last year, we visited back home and I drove through it and I go, oh yeah, this is the hood.
Well, buddy, it was safe because you were poor.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to do? What do you want? I got nothing for you.
Exactly.
But there was never any like, there was never really like a lot of fighting. No one ever got like shot or stabbed. I don't think so. Because it was all just fucking kids outside.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there was a lot of drug dealing going on. If there was, it was like in the house. Like there were not, like if you were on drugs, you were in the house.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of like people just walking around on drugs. There's no prostitutes. It's just you run around, it's literally just kids.
Yeah. Well, depending on like who runs the crime in the neighborhood, and somebody always does.
Yeah.
It's like some of those guys are mayors. They're really, truly. Yeah. Like they are the mayors of that area, and shit goes through them. Yeah. Like I remember one guy in the Carden Village projects. He didn't allow drug dealing to happen outside around the kids. Yeah. It was only inside, and if it happened outside, you fucking answered to him. Yeah. And shit happened to you.
Yeah. You know what? I think there was worse parts of town.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it just didn't happen there. Yeah. And like people would leave, everyone has a car, like we're in the middle of nowhere. You can't not have a car. So you could just drive to go get your drugs. Yeah. Very, very, I remember later on, I lived in other parts of the town, and my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, I would sleep at her house. That street was fucking bad. Yeah. Like that was like in the middle, shout out Thomas Street. In the middle of the town, right where like you would see like drug addicts outside. You would see like people I don't know if you know what a triple decker is. Yeah. So my girlfriend, my wife, lived in a triple decker. Every girl I ever slept with lived in a triple decker. And
that's hilarious.
On the first floor.
Oh man.
And so you would just like see people just making deliveries. We'd come out on the porch one time at her house, and there was this like a fucking abandoned lot here. There wasn't even a building in it anymore. We come out and there's just like plainclothes police officers just running through the field chasing someone, and I go, oh, shit. Yeah. They might be in here.
Yeah. Me and Big J did. Have you ever done a Comedy Zone in Jacksonville?
Not in Jacksonville, no.
It's attached to a Ramada.
Nice.
And the Ramada is damn near dilapidated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the worst place I've ever stayed in, but it's top 5. Yeah. And when Big J is hyping it up to me a couple weeks before, and he's like, bro, the drug dealers and the prostitutes come in at night because it's fun to watch. It's like, it's prime people watching. You're you're going to love people watching there. We get there, and the manager of the Comedy Zone is like, I want to let you know, we've cleaned up the drug dealers and the prostitutes. They're not really coming in at night anymore. And Jay's just like, the fuck? This is the whole reason we're here. Yeah. And then we're there late at night, and we see a dude pop a chair outside of a room, and the door open. There's 3 girls on the bed. Yeah. And I'm like, they didn't shut shit.
You didn't get them all.
You didn't get them, dude. They're still here.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. There's like some real, especially doing comedy. Yeah. You see some of the worst thing, like just some of like the most grotesque things in America. You know what I mean? Like shit is still. There's some parts of some people are out there living lives that are just like unfathomable.
I know.
To like even my sensibility now.
Yeah.
I live in Pflugerville. Shout out Pflugerville. I live in Pflugerville.
Yeah.
with a bunch of, it's just me and a bunch of Indians in my neighborhood. And they think I'm one of them. but I wear closed-toed shoes, so they know I'm not.
Yeah.
But they're out there playing cricket. Like it's like a very like,
I think I know where you live in
suburban.
Pflugerville.
Yeah. You can find. We're not hard to find.
Yeah.
But like it's a very safe suburban kind of area, and like it's funny sometimes I think about my wife because my wife comes from Hollywood, Florida. And
Oh man, I know exactly where she's from.
brother,
Yeah.
and
It's crazy, dude. It's like banjos to a techno beat.
Yes,
It's the only-
so
like
my wife has lived all over Broward counties, from like Davie, which is where it's like, you know, the Klan.
Yeah.
To like Hollandale Beach, which is almost in Miami, which is like all Jewish.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I think it's like Israeli too. It's like super Jewish. But like my wife lived all around there, from like super redneck to like super Cuban to like it's a really wild fucking place. South Florida is really it's not even a part of America.
Yeah.
It's like it's a completely different place.
South Florida and New Orleans are probably two of the most not.
I would say South Florida even more so than New Orleans. New Orleans has some sense of like culture and normalcy, whereas South Florida, it feels like a menagerie of madness.
Yeah.
Totally.
Until you start driving on the roads in New Orleans, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy drive. But I mean, when
Yeah.
it comes to just the people, like, I mean, you have the Haitian influence, the Cuban influence,
Huge.
you know, and then there's also, you know, what's the other one? Trinidadian. And like,
Mhm.
you know, then there's, you know, the Mexican immigration and
sure.
there's, you know, there's,
But there's for real rednecks down there too.
and then there's for real rednecks.
Yeah.
And you know, you got, dude, bro, Gainesville
Yeah.
Mhm.
is about as white trash as you get.
Yeah.
Everglades ain't far, you know.
Right.
No, and
I've
then,
been down there. I've been there.
and
It's
then
a
Bradenton, Florida, and those areas,
Yeah.
like right outside of Sarasota, it gets crazy there.
It's my wife is white, and she's got pictures. I don't know where they are now. They might be a lot of her shit ended up in Biscayne Bay. It's her dad. That's when she's on, she'll tell you about her dad, which is even better than my dad. But like she has pictures of her in high school in a 2-piece bikini, Confederate flag bikini.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
And I put 5 kids in her.
Yeah.
That's South Florida.
Yeah.
Dude. That is South Florida. 100%.
Took that rebel right out of her.
Hey man, that's honestly the America I want to live in.
But
Yeah.
going back to like you grow up where you grow up is just like, oh, that's just normal.
Yeah.
It was normal. It was like, yeah, like, hey, it's not like the South will rise again. It's just like Leonard Skinner, fucking,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Dukes
it's like,
of Hazzard.
you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like.
just
And meanwhile, every like her sister is like every boyfriend she had was like a black dude or a Cuban dude. Her brother is like basically Paul Wall.
Oh,
He's
hell
like
yeah.
has the big fucking slab car, like the old Chevy boxcars
Yeah.
with the train horns in them.
My brother's a wigger too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like shit. Like it's fucking all over the place. So I'm happy for my kids because I don't know. Like we have cultural week at school, and they're like, "What are we?" And I go, just pick one, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look at the map. Which one? You
We're
know?
American.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah,
I go,
really,
hey,
yeah.
like that, and that is, I think, why like as I've gotten older, I think it's also because I'm getting older, I'm like way more patriotic, and especially because my politics are the opposite of the party in power.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially my wife, she'll look at what's going on, she'll disagree with it, and she'll like feel less patriotic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I actually feel more patriotic
Mm.
because I go, this is, if you don't like that, that's because you love whatever you think America is.
Right.
And so you should go like, hey, you should come from a defensive stance. If you go, stop doing that.
Yeah.
I live here, you know? And so I think as I've gotten older, because it's like, I'm Puerto Rican and Pakistani, born in New York, raised in Massachusetts. I lived in Texas for 12 years. My wife's from Florida. She's Cuban on her dad's side. She's like Irish, and like all the fucking crazy relatives that we have down in Florida, and we have some in Texas. And like, I just feel like we're just, like you said, we're just American.
Yeah, the melting pot. You
Truly.
the thing, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like we could have only been a thing here. My mom was only meeting my dad. Those people are only meeting in New York.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just such a weird combination of things. Especially as you get older, especially with like comedy, you travel around a lot too. Like a bit, I don't know who said this. I saw this quote recently that it's like, if you want to hate America, watch the news, but if you want to love it, get in your car.
Yeah.
If you drive around this country, you go, oh, it's actually fucking awesome.
It is. Yeah. And I couldn't agree with that more. As somebody
Yeah.
that drives around this country on the regular, I literally drove 19 hours on Thursday.
Yeah.
From Phoenix here. And I stopped at place. I stopped at a place.
That's a beautiful drive.
It is. Yeah. I stopped at a place in Albuquerque that has a James Beard Award that looks like a fucking shack.
Yeah.
And they had all Mexican waiters and they like bowed at the table.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm serious. It was crazy,
Yeah.
man. It was like, and they were like the sweetest, nicest dudes.
Yeah.
And the food was absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And if you don't get in your car
Yeah.
and you don't go take part in that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't appreciate that.
Right.
And you don't realize, it's like so many people and soldiers, they fight for the idea of America.
Right.
They don't fight for what it actually is.
Yeah.
Or they don't, represent, or always try to like, I know you've seen it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're fighting for an idea, but it's your idea.
Yes.
Right.
For sure.
And I think that goes into the, what you were saying with politics, where
Yeah.
it's like, it's your idea
Yeah.
of what you think this country should be. And you're just looking for the most alignment with
Right.
that.
Yeah.
For the most minds that kind of see the way that you see things.
Yeah.
And I've always found myself more drawn to the independents.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was younger, like when Ross Perot
Yeah.
ran independent, I remember being like, kind of like that guy because he's not adhering to everybody else's. Ron Paul, I liked him
Right.
because he's not adhering to the status quo. I'm very much of a person that likes to go against the status quo a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more of an anarchist in that regard.
Yeah.
And so it was always tough for me to fall into line with Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
And so I've always said
Yeah.
that I stand in the middle and I lean the way issues blow.
Yeah.
And that's the way I plan on being for the rest of my life.
It's the only I think sensible way to be.
I think I'm biased because I'm that way. But, I do want to talk to my kids and I teach them things. We talked about ICE. And we were talking about it being in their schools. Like fucking ICE went to my daughter's school.
Yeah.
And she's like, has that ever happened before? And stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's this little thing called the Gestapo.
Yeah.
And the Gestapo did that exact same thing. You need to know that.
That type of shit is what makes you feel more patriotic too.
Yeah.
Because that's not America.
No.
Not supposed to be.
No.
Has it been a lot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But America is an idea. It's not. That's why being a part of a party is stupid because it's like people worship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you go, well, I agree with these people, so I'm with these people, and we do it with the founding fathers. Like we worship them, but the idea is to not worship anybody.
Yeah.
We're not. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You're supposed. The idea of America is that we worship the law and the system. Do whatever you want. Leave me alone. Everyone follows these rules.
Yeah.
But
Thomas
worshiping
Jefferson-
the men is
Thomas Jefferson
wrong.
was a farmer.
Right.
Alexander Hamilton was a banker.
Mhm.
George Washington was a soldier.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Those, you just got to remember, they all were something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Samuel Adams or those guys, they were traders.
Right.
They were,
Yeah.
brokers. Everybody was something. They weren't just these amazing figures that are larger than life in front of us.
Right.
They were men.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted to remind us of. And
Yeah.
is that they were men. Everyone was flawed. Everybody talks about Thomas Jefferson not marrying, his wife and having a bunch of mixed kids.
Yeah.
He was flawed.
Yeah.
He was a man.
Dude,
Man is flawed.
if you go look for someone to worship in American history, you will always be disappointed.
Absolutely.
I think the only person, I just finished reading the David McCullough book about him, that I think is closest to being like, yeah, you could worship this guy, is John Adams.
Yeah.
John Adams was like,
with that.
when you read what he wrote about what he would call like the character of like a New Englander, because back then it's like Massachusetts is my nation.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
It's not like that's my country. I'm from
Yeah.
Massachusetts. So when he describes like what a New Englander is, to me, those are what, like, if you're looking for founding documents for like, well, what does it mean to be an American? What do Americans value? It's those things.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because it means to be a lot. It's a lot of things, and it means something different to everybody. But essentially, what it comes down to, paraphrasing John Adams, is like, you should work hard. You should dress plainly. Don't make a big fucking deal about yourself. Serve your country, and just fucking get on with it.
Yeah.
Like, just live your life. John Adams never, I mean, back then the way it worked, you didn't run for president. You kind of just got selected. And there was some politics happening, but he's not campaigning. Yeah. He was chosen to be the vice president, then he was chosen to be the president. And then he just did it. And his family suffered. Like during the Revolutionary War, his family suffered.
Yeah.
Like truly, like the amount of suffering obviously that he went through is not the same as someone who died or had someone in their family die as a result of the war. But as far as someone who was like a politician could suffer, he suffered. But he was like, I'm glad that I suffered. And he was kind of vain, sure. But his idea of what it meant to be an American was really, I think, the enduring thing. Because you take a look at Jefferson, you look at Washington, both of them, like Jefferson put into the Declaration of Independence, he goes, we should say something about slavery. And they're like, don't say anything about slavery. Yeah. Even John Adams told him, he's like, if you put that in there, we're going to look like hypocrites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they knew, even the things they were doing that were bad, they go, I know it's bad.
Yeah.
But Jefferson is like, I just cannot stop buying fucking vintage clocks. I have to keep these slaves, you know?
Yeah.
I love buying fucking hand-bound books from France. I just have to keep these slaves.
You know, of all the founding fathers, Washington was the only one to release his slaves upon his death.
Yeah. And he was the coldest, too, in his commentary on slavery. Because when Jefferson was morally against slavery, even though he held slaves.
Yeah.
Washington never was, when he died, all of the correspondence between him and his wife destroyed, which helps build this aura of George Washington had no children of his own, only stepchildren, like we kind of don't know who this guy is. But he is on record saying like, hey, if we let the British do this to us, they're going to treat us the way I treat my slaves.
Yeah.
And he wasn't saying it like slavery is bad. He's going, that's how I would treat my slaves.
Yeah.
And I treat them like shit because I'm a slave owner,
Yeah.
you know? So you can't worship these guys.
No.
Yeah.
You know, we have the monuments, whatever. It's great because they did a great thing. Sure.
But you can worship it. I do believe you can worship elements of their ideology and what their hope for this country was.
Right.
Maybe even worship is just putting like the wrong, just like spin on it. Maybe it's just,
Idolize.
Yeah. Celebrate, just acknowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think acknowledging is kind of more the thing.
You did something that I agree with, or you had it, you wrote something or did something that I go, yes, that I agree. And I identify with that.
Or it's like, I acknowledge that you sacrificed for this country in some way.
Right.
You know,
totally.
just acknowledging it. That's all it is.
Yeah. But yeah, if you get into people worship, that's the politics that we've had since the beginning, honestly. But like that people worship is what's going to get us it's gotten us into a lot of trouble.
Absolutely. Because I've learned there's a big difference between a supporter and a fan. And perfect example is Beyonce, right? She has a lot of fans.
Right.
And the Beehive.
Yeah.
And it used to be, you said something on Twitter, they would swarm. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Beyonce could come out and say, I hate crackers.
Yeah.
And the Beehive is going to swarm and defend her because they're fans.
Yeah.
They're not tied to her in any way. They can leave at any moment, you know,
Right.
but they're these diehard fans. I've noticed that in politics.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed it with Hillary Clinton. I noticed it with Donald Trump. And they have more fans than supporters.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that I think I promise is the last political thing I'll say. I think that the only thing that will fix the path that we're on is somebody has to be elected who's to the president, who's willing to go, I'm going to take all the assumed powers that the president has taken through precedent over the last 250 years and remove them by law.
Yeah.
Right. We were just relying on someone to just do the right thing or to not behave in certain ways. But neutering the president or the office of the president, I think is the most important thing we could do to dwindle the president's power, any president's power on Congress and on the Supreme Court. These three things are supposed to have equal weight. But if you own Congress, you own the Supreme Court, one guy owns the whole thing.
Yeah. And it's honest to God truth. And their will is gone. Their will is just, you know, kind of like it just becomes mandatory. You know, you have to do what they want because you're, you know, at the mercy of the party and they control the party.
It just takes guts. It just takes, and that's the thing. I was really disappointed in someone like Paul Ryan or Mitt Romney, your former governor of Massachusetts, who like politically we probably disagree on a lot,
Yeah.
but like they just took their ball and went home.
Yeah.
It's like fucking fight, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking fight.
Bernie fought. Bernie fought for a long time.
Bernie's still fighting.
Yeah.
But it just takes guts. It just takes guts. And that's the thing is like, guts are expensive.
Guts are expensive. That's a hell of a way to close it.
Yeah.
We always, in this, kind of with some insight, advice, it's if you had to give one piece of advice to everybody out there that's raising a kid right now, based on, your childhood and, your experience as a father, what piece of advice would you give people raising kids?
That's big. There's a lot. I would say this. You're going to fuck up your kid somehow. And you don't know how. You should try really hard not to, but you will. When they come back and tell you, you fucked me up like this, just believe them. Just accept it. Whatever, you're doing your best, and at some point they'll come back and go, hey, when I was a kid, this thing happened and I hated that, or I didn't like the way this was. Just go, you're right. I'm sorry. And try to be better. I think it's the experiencing it with my mom, not my dad, but with my mom. And I'm prepared for that to happen with my kids, to go, come back and tell me how I fucked up. I don't want to be right. I just want to, my daughter's she's 14. Yesterday I was in the car crying with my wife because I go, she's going to be in high school. 4 years goes by like that, dude.
I was 16.
She's going to, she's going to be gone. And then like that, I could cry right now thinking about it. She's just going to be somewhere else. And I want her to want to come home. And I want her to want me to come see her. That's all I want. So you tell me I fucked up. I believe you. I'm sorry.
Damn, you're a good dad, dude.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's good.
dude.
That's good stuff.
Thanks.
That is good
Dude,
stuff.
that's going to make me cry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, fuck.
That's good.
I was balling big time in the car. Me and my wife, we went to the Salvation Army, big Saturday deal, sale. And we were just thinking about, like, man, she's going to be in high school. And then that's it. 4 years. I remember 4 years ago was COVID.
Right.
4 years is nothing.
No.
And I like, we got there. I was in the parking lot. I could not stop crying. I was like, she's just going to be gone. She's just going to be fucking out there. She's supposed to be here.
Yeah, I've gone through that a lot, man. I've gone through that a lot, especially like being on the road and being away from them, and being they're in Waco and I'm in Austin, and I've driven that 2 hour stretch probably since I moved here 5 years ago over 200 times.
Yeah,
and it feels like I'm 300 short.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, I'm always going to be at a little bit of a deficit just from being dislocated.
Yeah.
And the important thing is, I do everything that I can that's within my power. And I send the text messages every day. I love you. I miss you. I do the FaceTimes as often as I can. My son is my youngest, probably the least communicative, just because he's at the age. I talk to my oldest the most. But, I think it goes down to just do what you can.
Yeah.
And hope and pray to God that's enough. And if it's not, accept it.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because they'll tell you. Because how much do you think about from your childhood and you go, that was fucked up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was your childhood.
Yeah.
It was fucked up.
And if I tell my mom, hey, being starved for days, because I didn't write enough sentences.
Yeah.
That was tough. And my mom just like, well, you're a bad kid. There's no responsibility.
I mean, dude, I'll do anything to be in my kid's life when they're out of the house. They got no choice now, right?
While they're in the house, fuck them.
While they're in the house, I'm gonna watch football.
Yeah.
But I tell my wife all the time, that's my number one goal is I want them to want to come home.
Yeah.
I'm taking my son to Arizona. Just the two of us. We're gonna go to Sedona.
Cool.
And I think
It's a beautiful
important
place.
to take time to tell them why they're important to you.
Yeah.
You go like, hey, this means a lot. Me and my son went to Estes National Park Rocky Mountain National Park, and everyone was too cold to stay. They all stayed in the car. So just me and my son, who was maybe 9 at the time, we went up the path to like the top point or whatever. And I go, dude, You're gonna do a lot of stuff in your life. You're gonna work. You're gonna have to. You're gonna be in your car a lot. You're gonna have to like go to school, whatever. All of that stuff you're gonna do is all gonna culminate in you being on the top of a fucking mountain with your son. And those like 15 minutes are what everything else is for. I told him, I go, this is like one of the best moments of my life. You see me go to work every day. You see me, I go to do shows. I'm busting my ass trying to make sure you guys have whatever you need. I don't do a lot of stuff that I like to do, but this right here, and that's why we're going to Arizona. Just us, just the two of us. These moments are what that's all for. And I don't know if he's taking it in, but like, at least say it. So that it's in there somewhere. It's rattling around in there somewhere.
You think you're giving it to him because your dad never gave it to you?
100%. When I had kids, I could not, I don't love my dad. There's nothing to love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like I choose to hate him. It's just, there was nothing there. Literally nothing. When my kids when my first was born, I really hated him. I looked at my kids and I go, how could you not? I don't understand how you could not. How you could just go, I don't give a fuck. That's something wrong with you, dude. If you just go, I don't give a fuck. Like that, I don't understand. And so I try to, I don't know how to be a dad. I learned on the job. The last one's going to get a better dad than the first one. And the first one turned out pretty fucking good so far. We still got high school to get through, but she's like a great kid, great student athlete. And like, and I look at her and I go, thank you. Thank God. Like I said, we still got high school. A lot of people get fucked up in high school.
Yeah.
But I'm way better at being a dad for the rest of them because unfortunately we had to drop this one a couple times. Unfortunately, we had to fuck this one up a couple times.
You just wipe them off.
Man.
It's okay. 5-second rule.
Yeah.
Man, what a good one, man.
Dude, this episode
that was awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, just like this kind of episode is what the podcast is all about.
This is what it's about for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
This is great. This is great. I love this. This is cool.
Thanks, man. You want to let people know where they can find you?
Find me on Instagram at Dave J Comic. You can find me every other Monday at the Creek in the Cave if you want to come watch standing up comedy.
Locked Out
comedy going maybe 4 years strong.
It's a good show, man. It's a good show. You always pull a good crowd. Good show.
We do all right. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow me on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Did that movie with Dean. So
yeah, Roderick's in it too.
Roderick's in it too. Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool, man.
You can see me in there pretending to be a doctor.
And now I'm gonna know how hard you're acting. Like, dude, he can really act, man. Like, holy shit. Well, Tammy's kids, thank you for coming in. Thank you for sticking it out with us, and we appreciate you so much for being here. You have no idea. Keep doing what you're doing, liking, subscribing, and sharing. We'll keep doing what we're doing by trying to make this the best damn podcast in the whole world.
Damn right.
Thank you guys for being here. This has been Tammy's Boy.
See ya.
Bye.
Did your mama lie? Did your daddy make you cry? Hey, it's Tammy's boy. Tammy's boy. Tammy's boy. Hey, it's Tammy's boy.
They can subscribe. Why can't they? What would ever prevent them from subscribing?
Well, that's the question. Why wouldn't you subscribe?
It's like, you know what I mean? Subscribe if you can. No, you can.
You can. It's free, actually.
People with nubs for arms can do it with their tongue, dude. You got this.
You got this.
I believe in you.
We believe in you.
Yeah.
Subscribe.